So in the run-up to 2019 Rugby World Cup in Japan, Asia Rugby and its unions put in a lot of effort to grow the game. And latest statistics show that we've engaged over 2 million new players in the 4 years in the run-up to 2019 World Cup. As part of our retention plan, we also, of course, want to have more games played, because the more games there are, the longer people stay in the game. And the more games we organize, we need more referees. So, of course, we need to plan ahead for the future and say, where do we get those referees from? So today, it's fortunate for me that I have one of the most experienced referees across Asia, Dilroy Fernando. Dilroy's from Sri Lanka, and welcome, Dilroy.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, although it's over Zoom, and hopefully one day we'll catch up.
Definitely.
Yes, yes.
In the near future, hopefully in the near future.
Hopefully. So, Dilroy, where did your engagement or your love for rugby start?
Ben, it's a long story. Okay, I started playing rugby for my school. Before I started playing for school under 12, I went to a school called Isipatana College, which has produced highest number of national players in the recent past. Our school is just in front of Havelock Sports Club, one of the leading clubs in the country, which has history of over 105 years. And what we used to do was after school, so we had morning school and also sometimes afternoon. So after school hours, we, if there's a match at Havelock Park club game, I mean, they charge gate, at that time it was only 10 rupees, which is, peanuts now. But we didn't have the money, so we had to jump the parapet wall and watch the games, So we did all that. And because for the love of the sport, and also when you say Isipatana, most of the people, if you apply for a job, if you have gone to Isipatana, yes, you are taken to do the job because they know you're a rugby player.
Yes, so it's a rugby school with a history of rugby.
History of rugby, yes. Highest number of national players, and also winning the most number of under-20 tournaments in the recent past, the sevens, the knockouts, the league, triple champions. So at Isipatana, Ben, we don't have a big ground, home grounds, but you have a small piece of land where we play. Also, we used to play rugby on the concrete slab. Yes. I still remember when I was in the year 3 and year 4, and entire school, we only had 2 rugby balls, 1 or 2 balls, which were used for the first 15. So I still remember we used to, what we do, we take turns, and we used to take shoes off, and we use somebody's shoe to play rugby. So we were playing touch rugby, and that was the humble beginnings of, and at times we even played with a stick. We used to throw the stick. So no offsides, no forward passes, everything is allowed, And only thing is you touch down on the far end, we touched down on the opposite, there was a temple fence on or on the tree. So that's how we started playing rugby.
Okay, so now I understand where Sri Lankans in general, when they're on the rugby pitch, where they get this good handling from, those seems that they have glue on their hands.
Yes. So a lot of touch rugby, and then, I mean, without rugby, but now, of course, there are plenty of rugby balls. But those days, it was, it was a luxury to have rugby ball.
That's right.
Good old days. Yeah.
Okay, so you fell in love with the game, and then I guess you played for school teams?
Yes. So Ben, I was doing many sports. I was doing cricket. I played cricket, did athletics, was cadet sergeant, and all that. But then finally, I thought, okay, rugby is the sport for me, because again, coming back, it's from Isipatana. So most of the Isipatana do play rugby. So I first represented the under-15 team, from there to under-17, and then the first 15, under-20. So I was also fortunate, I captained all 3, under-15, under-17, and the first 15 team. And during my captaincy, our school became unbeaten champion. We won the sevens, and we were voted in as the most popular team. Toured Bangkok while being a schoolboy 3 times for the Asian Championship in Thailand.
Wow, okay. So that was the let's call it an
school.
illustrious playing career. Yes.
Yes. Oh, also, Ben, I represented Havelock Sports Club at the age of 18. I represented Havelock's first 15 sevens team while being a schoolboy. And then the very next year, I again played for college and then played for CRNFC in the 15s. And so while being in school, I represented two A division clubs in two different seasons.
And you had your parents' permission?
Yes, parents' permission plus the permission from the school.
Okay.
I was 18.
Okay, so but then when did you take up the whistle the first time?
Then Ben, I played for while playing for CRNFC, I was chosen to represent nationality. So played for Sri Lanka. Unlike the present day where you have, for a year you have Asian 5 nations, Division 1s, Division 2s. That time once in 2 years you have the Rugby Asian. And then I was chosen I played against Paris Universities in Colombo, and then also represented the Sri Lanka national team in the Rugby Asia held in Fukuoka in Japan in 1984. And that was the Asian Championship. And then from there, in 86, I had an injury. My appendix, it burst while I was playing.
Wow.
So that basically slowed down in playing, serious contact rugby. And so that's then I did try to make a comeback, but it's a bit difficult. Then only I got involved in supporting my school rugby administratively, and then took up to refereeing from there.
Okay, so I mean, a lot of people playing careers end, and then they say, okay, what do we do next? I think personally, I think it's only the brave who take up the whistle. But I think so. If you don't fall in love with match officiating, with reffing, I don't think you can be a good ref. So where did you actually realize, man, I love this?
Yeah. So Ben, at that time, rugby was schools rugby in Sri Lanka. We didn't have any sponsors. The school had to pay money. Buy jerseys for the players, boots. Sometimes players' parents had to buy it. And then some of the old boys got together, and we thought, okay, we must help the school boys in my school. And at the same time, I was invited by CRNFC to be the assistant coach to the CRNFC team. I did follow the senior coach, who was also national coach, Mr. Ajit Aberathan at that time. And then I thought, this is not for me, Then what I did was I was helping the school coach, and then I was refereeing every day junior games, under 17s or first 15 training. I just took the visit. At that time, I didn't have a clue about the law book. So just exposure was, watching games plus playing rugby. That was the exposure I had. So I just took the whistle, started refereeing every single game. So then you have, before the first 15 game, you have the under 17s, under 15s games. And I was refereeing every single game, not the first 15, because top game referees appointed by the referee society.
That's right.
But junior games, you can appoint your own referee. Yeah. So basically, I was refereeing in every single game, and that was the beginning,
Yeah, and then from there on, how many years in total have you? When was the first time? How many years back?
1990 was my first year in refereeing. And so I gave up in 86. Then I was involved in helping the school. Then I was refereeing just, unofficially. Then I applied to the Referee Society in 1990. So first appeal was rejected. I was not even considered. And then I was refereeing the junior games, and some senior guys saw me and said, why don't you join the society? I said, I did apply, but then it was rejected. Yeah. And then I was encouraged by, I can remember, Mr. U.L. Kalwaraj, who former top referee. And he gave me a book after refereeing a junior game. He gave me a book called Art of Refereeing. Yes. And then I still have that book. And he had written on top of it, somebody had presented him, he had written, Dilroy for a successful refereeing career, and please have this. I still have that book, And so that was before I joined the Referee Society, which was presented. Probably identified my talent.
Yeah.
And also a few others encouraged me to, take up to refereeing and join the society. So when I applied to the society, again, very first year itself, I was given A division club and school games.
Okay. So altogether, how many years of refereeing, active refereing?
Active refereeing, or 22 years.
Wow, that's a lifetime. That's a lifetime.
And yeah.
Wow. Okay, but 22 years as referee, there must be some highlights. If you sit at home and sometimes think, wow, that was a good day. So what were the highlights of those 22 years?
Since till recently, I didn't even count how many countries I visited or refereed or not only refereeing. I've been a performance review for Asia Rugby.
Oh yeah.
I'm qualified as World Rugby Performance Review as well as coach of match officials. I also acted as referee manager in certain tournaments, under 19s or Asia Sevens. So I basically either refereed or attended as performance review or CMO in 24 countries, including Sri Lanka.
Wow, that's
24.
Wow, that's amazing.
And
is
so
that across Asia or even beyond Asia?
I was in UK. I was on exchange program, refereed in UK. I was refereeing in Bristol, Cornwall, and Devon on exchange RFU with the RFU.
Yeah.
Apart from that, basically it's Asia. And I have also delivered training programs in Asia in 9 countries.
Wow.
Level 1 match officiating.
Yeah. So let's get back to give me your top 3, top 5.
Then Ben, how it happened was I never dreamt of refereeing. I didn't know that Asian panel of referees or international panel. Absolutely, I didn't have any clue. I just picked up the whistle and refereed for the love of the sport,
Yes.
And it's purely passion and dedication to the sport. I want to give something back to the sport,
That's right.
So I played at the highest level and captained my college team, played for 2 clubs, played for national team. I want to give something back. I was thinking, how am I going to get involved, And then refereed a few games in 1991. Then in 93, my good friend Roger Rodrigo, who's in Dubai,
Yes.
He played for college team with me, and also we've been good friends. He said, Dilroy, we have a tournament, Dubai Sevens. People didn't know Dubai Sevens,
Yes.
And why don't you come over and referee in this tournament? He said he'll attend an invitation. And then he sent me an invite through the organizers for me to visit Dubai and referee in that tournament. So I went there with my wife, and Martin Galliford, people like them involved in organizing the tournament. It's a still stand pitch. I still remember it was on stand pitches we play in Dubai Sevens.
That's right.
And so that was the very first tournament, and then overseas. And I thought, okay, people have come from overseas, the referees, the atmosphere. I thought, oh, this is really good. Then only I thought, oh, why don't I try to become international referee,
That's
at
right.
Asia level even.
Yes.
So the opportunity that I got to referee in that tournament was huge, and I saw, okay, this is really good,
That's right.
And that was the beginning. And then when you asked me, other occasions were, again, then I applied for a job opportunity in Hong Kong, and then I was selected. I was doing garments merchandising, and I had a contract for 2 years, and that was the biggest turnaround in my refereeing career, because all the other referees were either from New Zealand or England or Australia. This was before the handing over of Hong Kong
to China.
Yeah. So then people like Ross Mitchell and all Hercroft, top guys. And then I also got involved in the Hong Kong Sevens, and then refereeing with them, and also monthly referee training programs. It was totally different from what was in Sri Lanka and there.
That's right.
I saw professionalism in Hong Kong when you compare with total amateur refereeing in Sri Lanka, because if you take Sri Lanka, today it's totally different, but during that time, I remember a referee would smoke a cigarette, come and throw that and he'll go to the pitch and referee, he'll just put a jersey over. Yeah, that was refereeing. And he was the god. The referee is right always, he was never wrong, and you can't ask anything. So it was an era like that. And then when I finished my 2-year term in Hong Kong, and then when I got back, I told the referee, look here, we have to change.
Yes, we need to
I said, we need to run
professionalize,
workshops. Did you have workshops, have, training programs with the referees. Also, if a referee has to go overseas for a tournament to officiate, I've seen people going around with begging bowls, asking for money from people. I said, where's the credibility, Why are we doing this? And then we thought we'll charge from Schools Rugby Association or whoever was running a competition. We were charging money to the society, referee society. Yeah. And we said, okay, we are going to use this money, which is in the kitty, to send somebody overseas. And then you are not under obligation to anybody. So we did all those changes thanks to my stint in
exposure. Just to see how professionals are doing it.
Yeah. So that is one big change. Then Ben, from there, the other question that you asked me was, so with those humble beginnings, I also had the opportunity of running touch at the Rugby World Cup in 2009 in Dubai.
Yes.
With top level referees, Nigel Owens and Ben Barnes, all of them refereeing in that. And also another highlight in my refereeing career was the Commonwealth Games finals in '98, where we had Asia referees and also the top panel referees, Paddy O'Brien and people like them officiating in that tournament. So I was selected to run touch in the finals for the gold medal between Fiji versus New Zealand.
Wow!
And that was a huge experience. And also people like Eric Rush was New Zealand captain, Sarawi was the captain of Fiji team, and legendary late Jonah Lomu, Christian Cullen.
That's right.
Those are some of the players.
So that was the other highlight. That was definitely. Okay, what about Bradley Shield? Have you done any Bradley Shield?
If you ask me any, Bradley Shield is a blue ribbon rugby game in Asia, I would say, because 3 to 4 million people watch the game on social media, live on telly or on social media. And also at the grounds, you can't purchase tickets,
That's right.
So you have two legs every year between Trinity versus Royal College. Both schools are 100 years old. So from the time I started, apart from the 2 years I was in Hong Kong, I was appointed to referee the Bradley Shield games. And when you say Bradley Shield, it's not really a game, it's passion. It's basically total celebration, and a lot of people, the atmosphere is totally different, So I've refereed 22 Bradley Shield games.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow. Okay, so just, from what I do understand about the Bradley Shield and the passion, and, that's almost a day that brings everybody, schools to a halt, because that's the day where everybody wants to see who's going to be the champion of Sri Lanka schools rugby. Would you say it was almost tougher than some of those World Cup games?
Definitely. No, because the crowds, 15,000 people yelling.
And the passion,
the people flying from Aussies, old boys flying from Aussies
to
watch that. It's a weekend of, fun, the families, things like that. And also, Ben, other thing is the long traditions and the history behind this Bradley Shield. Game is live on television.
Yes.
And things like that, So I was fortunate. I refereed in 22 of those Bradley Shield games.
Wow. So you've seen the stars of the future year after year, seen the best players, school level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, but as a referee, as somebody who developed himself over a period of time, you must have had a role model, somebody that you would say, okay, this guy, I want to be like him.
Yeah, definitely. I had my role model was Ed Morrison, who refereed the World Cup final, and it so happened he refereed 1995 World Cup finals. And when I was offered to referee in England, and when I was in Bristol, he was my CMO. He came and watched me.
Okay.
And
so you got
when I saw him. Yeah.
You
So
got the top guy to look at you. Yeah. And help
exactly.
you
So
develop.
then we also had dinner after that, and then he presented me a book,
Oh, that's brilliant.
Ed Morrison,
Yes.
refereeing. Yeah, so it was really nice. He was my role model, as well as
Yeah.
at the same time I was able to. He came and watched me refereeing, and then gave
Yeah.
me a feedback report.
Mm.
Which helped me a lot again.
Yeah.
And again, also, sorry,
Yeah.
one other occasion was, Ben,
Yes.
when China played their first ever international.
Okay.
That was played in Singapore for Anchor Cup. And I still remember there was people from the World Rugby, that IRB chairman, and a whole lot of people. And then the game was refereed by Peter Marshall from Australia.
Yes.
And the assistant referees were refereed from Japan, Shinji Aida, and myself. So we were the assistant referees. So that was again, unforgettable, because that was the very first time China played an international game.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I think Ed Morrison. Yeah, I do remember him distinctly, because that was the '95 World Cup. As a South African. Yeah. So quite happy. I think he had a very good game. Nobody could point fingers afterwards. One single mistake. So you learned from the best. You rub shoulders with the best in the world. So to bring you back to Sri Lanka. So what are you doing at the moment? I know you will always be involved in rugby. So what is your involvement in Sri Lanka now, or Sri Lanka rugby?
Right now, Ben, I'm consultant to Sri Lanka Rugby. I can't serve in the council since I'm running a rugby business related to rugby football. So that deprives me, that doesn't permit me representing or being in the Sri Lanka Rugby Council. But Rugby Union officials have appointed me as consultant. Earlier, I was doing consultancy work like training and education. I was heading T&E department, plus the sponsorships. I've got a new role now, getting involved in fixtures, that is competitions.
Yes.
So I'm also a qualified match commissioner. So it's not a difficult task. I basically love rugby. I eat, drink, and sleep rugby.
It's very obvious. Okay. So training and education is now close to your heart. So I know you're World Rugby trainer, and you've that you've had some time as educator. So
the thing is, Ben, even before I became a World Rugby educator or trainer, I've delivered training programs. We have done workshops, many workshops, and there was a time when we were, doing proper training programs and delivered, like every week we had match reviews, midweek reviews of the weekend games.
Yeah.
We at one set we had 7 people in the Asia Rugby panel. Top panel, I was serving the top panel. We had B and development panel. So we had altogether 7. We had about 15 guys who could have easily referee any top division game in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
We brought to a level like that, so passion plus the dedication of these people, and also they were prepared to learn,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you ended up mentoring these referees.
Yes, young referees. Even last weekend I was in Kandy in the Central Province, did a program for 15 referees. Out of for the first time after about 30 years, we had 5 players, Trinity College rugby players, 15 rugby players participated.
Okay.
So if we can get people like them who understand the game
so well,
yes, it will be really good for not only Sri Lanka Rugby, Asia Rugby, and also it's good for the game of rugby football.
Yes.
Where people who have played at the highest level, if they could come and contribute, I'm sure we can take rugby to a greater levels, heights.
Yeah. Okay, so how many would you say? How many referees have you trained over the years?
T&E programs, level 1 or level 2, I would say definitely easily over 400.
Wow. Is that in Sri Lanka or beyond?
No, not only Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Beyond, it's all together.
across Asia.
Across Asia, definitely, yes.
Any countries that stand out that you that?
Well, I once delivered level 3 in Hong Kong, that for the elite
Wow.
referees.
Okay.
Then did countries who started playing rugby in the recent past, Afghanistan.
So you went to
Delivered
Afghanistan.
Yes, I delivered the program in
Wow.
Afghanistan in
So,
November last year.
yeah, and how was it?
I mean, those guys really wanted to learn, and
That's
they
right.
were
Yeah.
they were really keen in learning
Yes.
officiating. I also delivered a program in sometime back in Iran. That was the first ever training program in Iran as well.
Beautiful
And
place.
there was a tournament around at the same time. So Cambodia, Iran, Kyrgyzstan, India and Pakistan are first country that I've delivered programs in. Then also Malaysia, Singapore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So Okay. Yeah. It's good to hear. Cambodia, because they've recently become Asia Rugby members again. Afghanistan is doing very well. Yeah. So bottom line is we can't have a proper rugby program without a match official. Definitely. So, which is good. I think people are understanding that. So let me just take you back to Sri Lanka rugby. I mean, you've been there from those days where you walked across the road to Havelock Club to have a look at men playing club games or so. So as you said, it's part of who you are. So what are your dreams then for rugby in Sri Lanka or for Sri Lanka rugby football?
Oh, well, Ben, what I would like to see is Sri Lanka rugby playing, being in the top tier with the likes of Japan and Hong Kong.
Yes.
We were just right behind. Once I was a referee manager in the Asian tournament I think in South Korea, and where Sri Lanka lost to Japan by whisker, we were leading, and then Japan scored in the last minute and won the game. Otherwise, we would have definitely won against them and won the silver medal in that competition. So our boys are talented. So what I would like to see is Sri Lanka, getting the same level as Japan or Hong Kong in the Asia region. And in terms of refereeing, I would like to see someone else refereeing a Commonwealth game, or at least running touch in a Commonwealth game final or Asian Games final. It's been long 20 odd years since I since I ran touch in the Commonwealth game final or refereed the Asian Games final. So we need to have at least few boys coming through who could.
And the talent is there.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so now it's just managing, nurturing them, mentoring them. Yeah.
There have also been enough opportunities. Sri Lanka has, I think, if you take in Asia, apart from Japan, I think Sri Lanka has the highest number of quality games for any match officials.
Oh, yes. I do.
When we invite referees from Hong Kong or from UAE or Singapore to come and referee, they love it because of the crowd, the atmosphere, and also the quality of games which are played by especially schools rugby.
That's right.
It's very, very high level.
Okay, so let's keep up the good work, develop them, mentor them, and say, okay, let's say 3 years down the line, we will have them ref at the Dubai Sevens again, Commonwealth, Asia Rugby tournaments, and so on. Just on rugby development in general, what are your hopes and dreams for rugby development in Sri Lanka?
Well, to increase the number of training programs which we're doing right now, and not only to concentrate in Colombo, Kandy, and Galle. We have taken it to other provinces. So what we do now, Ben, is the T&E department, which we created last year in Sri Lanka. We have full-time staff as well as council members serving there. So what we're trying to do is do technical weekends. So we select a week which is the provincial union. We will be sending the educators, match officiating, player coaching, strength and conditioning, and also at the same time medical. So we basically take all the technical delegates, the resource personnel, and deliver, so that what the Sri Lanka rugby also wants is when time to come, when you have a provincial tournament, the school, there are so many tournaments, under 10s, 12s, 15s, to have their own staff, own people managing the tournament, so that we don't have to send referees from Colombo to Kandy or to Abisabel or Anuradhapura. They will have their own match officials, they will have their own medical people, you know. So that's what we need to, what we're looking at developing.
Oh, okay. So there's a plan. There's talent.
Yes.
There's passion. So you've got everything. Yeah. So that's brilliant. But I just want to get back to reffing. So there's this perception that it is one of the toughest jobs in rugby. So let's say, for instance, I am a retired player, or I'm a young person, and I want to take up reffing. What advice would you give me? Where do I start?
Well, I would say if you are experienced, and if you have played rugby in the recent past, you know the laws. You know, you have some knowledge of rugby laws. Last weekend when I tried some of these first 15 rugby players, we did the program half day, and then second session was all afternoon was practical. So I gave the whistle, and these boys started refereeing. You know, so they knew. It's basically positioning you need to tell them, but they knew how to call scrum, engagement, and things like that. So if you have played the game, still, if you are at senior level, what we do is we can encourage them to come on board, be involved in games, so they can do touch rugby, or they can referee the kids rugby under 10s, 12s. You know, you can contribute, you can give something back to the sport. Refereeing again in Sri Lanka, when if you are a rugby referee, you are known. I go to a supermarket sometimes, you know, people come and talk to you. You go to a market in Kandy after a match, they come and give you bag loads of fruits free of charge, you know. If you have flat tire, you don't need to do anything. Somebody will come and help you.
Somebody will come and help you. Yeah,
so you're known.
It's great because, I mean, they acknowledge the service that you have given to rugby over so many years. Yeah. No, that's good. So, okay. So, where does the learning start? I mean, if somebody wants to become a referee, where do they start their learning?
Yeah. So in Sri Lanka, what happens is we have training programs in each provincial union. So we have now centralized everything. Sri Lanka Rugby has a training education department, but then provincial unions request the rugby union, can you please send the resource personnel? We want to deliver a program, you know. And then we send people and train these people as rugby referees. And so they are given then to referee even tag rugby tournament, where GIR program, you know, kids play tag rugby. So we put them into tag rugby, and then the pathways, then they can do if he's really good, then we have a system where they have been taken up, you know, to referee the top under 18 school games, you know. And otherwise, within 2 years, if you're really good, if you're dedicated, if you're passionate, and if you're committed, 2 years you can definitely reach the top and, you know, referee a division school or club game. Because we can fast track. If they're good, we identify them and we fast track them.
Okay. So that's Sri Lanka. It's a well organized referee society, and it's a country where, you know, where there are enough games to practice. But what if I'm somewhere in Asia? Let's say I'm in Cambodia or Bangladesh or
Afghanistan
for that matter. How do I start? What do I do first?
Well, the same questions are asked when I delivered a program in Afghanistan in November, December. So what I said was, you know, if you see a game, you know, so it so happened in one particular country, when I delivered a program. So I did in main capital, next day I was going to another place, and then same day they said, we are playing a match in the afternoon, do you want to see them? So I told them, you know, player safety and welfare is paramount, then level 1, So medical team, doctor, ambulance is a must. They all said, yes, this is very good. So when they started playing the game, so referee was there. I said, okay, I'm watching you. He said, sir, yes, please have a look at me. How scrum management? I said, So then he refereed the game. So after the match, I asked him, how do you think it went? He said, all good. You know, I did scrums, line-outs good. Then I asked the rest of the participants. They all said, he was okay. I asked, what about the player safety welfare?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody got injured. I said, where's their medical team? Where's the doctor? Where's the ambulance? Oh, in our country, we don't get any of these.
Okay. Okay. So,
So
yeah.
then, so it's a responsibility of the match office referee. If it is not organized
Yes.
the country, if you don't have proper systems, you need to still, at least a medically trained person has to be there with some eyes, stretcher. The player safety is paramount, you know.
Yeah. So the
the
referee is actually the one that needs to ensure player welfare is adhered to.
Yeah, in the top tier countries in Asia, even Sri Lanka, we now have a match commissioner for each game. So it's a responsibility of the match commissioner. So we have taken the responsibility from the referee, and the match commissioner has to go 2 hours before, check all the facilities, ground marking things. So if match commissioner is not there, then it's a responsibility of the match official referee to check the ground markings, the facilities, plus the medical team, you know, all those things.
Okay. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I have been a referee for 2 years, and I have aspirations to go beyond just club matches. What opportunities are there in Asia for a referee?
Yeah. So if you are refereeing at top level, Ben, every year the Asia Rugby, there's a system where you could send nominations to serve in the Asia Rugby panel.
Yes.
And then the Asia Rugby would ask the senior people if you have been involved as match commissioner, CMO, coach of match officials, or performance reviewer, feedback on that particular referee, you know. And then they are given an opportunity in under 19 tournament or competition where Division 2 or 3 sevens.
Yes,
so you're not given at once the top division.
No.
There are a number of international sevens tournaments in Asia organized in Malaysia has Borneo, then Hong Kong has Hong Kong Tens, like that, you know. So Thailand has some tournaments. You're given an opportunity, and then somebody can watch you and then, you know, give a feedback. That's and then you have been given an opportunity to referee in the Asia panel. So there is a pathway, there is a system. And you start today at low level, and within 3 to 4 years, you can definitely reach the top and, you know, become a top referee in Asia.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so I think we need to wrap up. So basically, what I want to do is we need to look at people who want to become referees across Asia and give them something. So can we say let's work on a workshop that we can deliver across Asia over the next few months?
Sure.
Okay, so that's good news for me. So So I will work with you and other experienced educators, and we can come up with a step-by-step plan. I think a lot of people would just want to hear, what should I do? Where do I start? And perhaps we can do it a little, although it's over Zoom, we can do it practical and say, you know, do these following things in your development. Yeah.
As long as these people are committed and they're passionate, and also they need to do certain sacrifices, you know. And probably your time, your family time, if you're referring at top level, because you need to be training, which I've done, you know. But at the end of the day, you're happy because you have achieved something, and then family will be happy as well. There was a time my wife used to say, I still remember people like Gerard Gallagher, then when he was in Sri Lanka, she once said, you know, I'm a rugby widow.
Yes.
So, but I mean, that's all part and parcel of rugby. You know, we all rugby.
I mean, you're still married to her, and she knows you love her more than rugby. Then it's fine, I guess. Yeah. Dilroy, thank you very much. This was good to talk to you. Thank you. And good luck. Yes. And
thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
Good luck to you. Let's try and work out that program. You know, we will support you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dilroy. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.